Hello fellow cinephiles, 90s Film Guru here. For those new to the channel, my name's Sean, also known as 90s Film Guru, and today I'll be looking at Rose Glass's second film, Love Lies Bleeding. This one's a bit different, I guess, because it's not a 90s film and it's not really set in the 90s, it's set in the 80s, but I've always said that if I find a film I really want to talk about that's not in my particular decade, I still want to do a review, and this is definitely one of them. This was one of my most highly anticipated films of the year. I was a big, huge fan of Saint Maud that Rose Glass directed, and I was really intrigued and interested to see what she was going to do next, and did she deliver? After I saw the trailer of this film, I just had really high expectations. But going in, I had to try and lower them a little because I didn't want to get my hopes up. This was going to be a magnificent film and just feel disappointed. But it didn't really matter. This film was fantastic. It is definitely one of my favourite films of the year, and I was really impressed with what she did with it. To go from a simple, small, contained film like Saint Maud, and to be given a bit more of a budget to expand a story like this, she's done a fantastic job. The film is set in the 1980s and chronicles the relationship between a reclusive Lou, played by Kristen Stewart, who has a crime family, and an ambitious bodybuilder, Jackie, played by Cathy O'Brien. It has a really great cast besides Kristen Stewart and Cathy O'Brien. You've got Ed Harris, who's really great and wonderful. Jena Malone's really good in it. Even Dave Franco's not too bad. I'm not a huge fan, but I think he's solid in the role that he's given in this film. There are a variety of other great performances as well. I think both Kristen Stewart and Cathy O'Brien are fantastic in this film. Kristen Stewart's an actress I've really started to enjoy in the last few years. She broke free of the whole Twilight debacle and stifled her career, and she's done some really fascinating, interesting roles, and I think this is definitely one of the best she's done so far. I really like the Lou character. She's kind of trying to escape her father, who's a criminal and does really bad things and is a really bad guy. And she was involved in his world, but she doesn't want anything to do with it now, so she's trying to break free. She lives a reclusive and lonely life. She manages a gym that subsequently we find out that her father owns. And she just lives a very simple life. But her whole life is turned upside down when she meets Jackie, who is she's just mesmerized by her. And Jackie's a character that is very driven and ambitious. She wants to be a bodybuilder. She wants to do something with her life, but she's trying to escape a past we don't fully understand. There are glimpses of it and things through a phone call she has where she talks to her mother and I gather a brother or sister. But I really feel like there's a connection there to what she does in the film and her past. It's an interesting relationship that forms. You've got Jackie, who's very strong and driven and sort of helps Kristen Stewart's character, Lou, come out of her shell a bit and give her a purpose, and I like that. And I also like how when the film first starts and you see Jackie is the stronger character in the relationship, but after a particular thing unfolds and happens, or a choice and decision she makes that alters her trajectory, Kristen Stewart's character Lou becomes stronger. She becomes the forefront, because we start to see what she was involved in, who her father was, and what she's been in, and knows what to do when bad things happen. And it's a really great contrast between both the characters, and swapping strength and control over the other, and I kind of like that. I thought that was really, really interesting. Cathy O'Brien is fantastic. I think she's a real standout in this film. This is a career-making role for her, I think. She's done a variety of things. She was in TV shows like The Wookiee and obviously Ant-Man 3. But she hasn't really taken off, but I think this is really her role. She's so great in it. She's so buff, she's so strong, she's taken on this character in such a great way that you feel a connection with her. And you can see why the Lou character is mesmerized by her, because when you first see her on screen, you can't sort of take your eyes off her. She's extraordinary to see. I love how she sort of moves within scenes and the choices and decisions she makes as an actress. She's a real standout to me. And I really, really hope this is her springboard to go on to do other things, because I thought she was absolutely wonderful. It's something I kept thinking throughout the film about the Jackie character. She reminded me a little bit of the Naomi character from Showgirls. Now, look, don't get me wrong, Showgirls isn't very, very good. It's a weird and strange film, and it does have a cult following. But it's just the journey of the characters. Naomi, like Jackie, is venturing off to do something they both want to do. They head to Vegas, and Naomi wants to become a dancer and Jackie wants to become a bodybuilder. But it's sort of very similar because they set out to go to Vegas and things just don't go according to plan. They get wrapped up in something they have no control over. It's about them navigating that. I think, and it's the journey of the Jackie character is fairly similar to the Naomi character, and very ambitious and driven and wants to accomplish something, but gets mixed up in something she doesn't understand and doesn't know how to work through. And she has a shady past that is very similar to the past that Naomi has in Showgirls. I just thought that was very interesting, that's all. I do feel Lou and Jackie are the heart and soul of the film, and when they're stronger together is when the film feels very strong and sturdy. But when they're broken apart by decisions and choices made, it sort of takes away that strength that it has in the relationship and in the story. I think they're stronger together than they are apart, because you really care for them and you care for what transpires, and you see what happens and causes a ripple effect not only between them, but a ripple effect within the story and interaction between the characters. I think Ed Harris is really good. He's good as usual. He's kind of creepy and strange in this, has the most bizarre haircut, bald on top and long hair down the side. I guess that's an 80s thing. But he is really great in the scenes he has. He really commands the screen like he always has. And I saw an interview where he talked about how he was happy playing Kristen Stewart's father, not her grandfather. And it must be hard for male actors getting older who are portrayed as grandfathers or old characters rather than playing something a bit younger than themselves. There is some shocks and violence in the film. Before going in, I did hear that it was meant to be really, really violent, and there are moments of that, but it's not as violent as they're portraying it to be. It kind of starts to feel a bit like Pulp Fiction in a little way, where a whole lot of things start to go wrong, and it's this domino effect. And it's about the characters sort of trying to navigate what's going on and trying to keep themselves safe and how to try and keep themselves out of trouble. Which creates a lot of anxiety and discomfort for the viewer, which is a really great thing for a film to be able to do. But it could be more of the fact I might be slightly desensitized to violence these days with so many movies with violence in them. There are some really great moments in this film. There are a lot of people who, like these dead bodies that their characters deal with, and it just seems like every second scene, Kristen Stewart's Lou wrapping up a body in a rug, which I think is really interesting. It has sort of a strange comical element to it in these particular scenes, even though they are intense and there's intensity to them. There is a lot of humour, which I think is really great. And like Saint Maud, there's this element of a supernaturally aspect to the movie, where Jackie's character her muscles get bigger and bigger and bigger, and it's like it's leading to something. I don't love what it leads to. I can see why it was done, because it's the idea, like Saint Maud, you're not quite sure if something's real or not. And I'm taking what happens to Jackie as not real, but it's an imagined idea of her feeling larger than life. There are some great scenes of what they do with the Jackie character, the way they shoot her, and she feels much bigger than she is, and I really love that, especially the scene with Dave Franco and how they shoot her after the events of that, which is really, really cool. She just feels an empowering and strong figure, and I love that. The film really has an intensity that grows and grows throughout, which I think is really interesting. It keeps you connected, it keeps you on the edge of your seat in a way. It's not a classic thriller film, but it has aspects and elements of that is really, really, that help you really invest in the story. I do really like the end and the third act of the film. I think it escalates to a really interesting point, and it's just one thing after another that Lou and Jackie have to deal with, and ultimately to find their way through. It really helps to make a very engaging story that you really feel engaged and connected with the characters. Like I mentioned, there is a particular choice and decision made with the Jackie character. Now, I don't know if I only like that, But that to me is the only thing in the film that I didn't like. I loved everything else. I even liked the really annoying characters because they added a different element to the film, which I thought was great. I really love the way the film's shot. It's very creative and inventive. There are a lot of moments that feel like Rose Glass and what she did with Saint Maud. And there are other moments that feel different, like she's sort of evolving or trying different things as a filmmaker. But they're really great choices, and I like what she does with the movie. There's one scene in particular that really shows her as a filmmaker, and this is something that happens to Jackie during a bodybuilding competition, which I thought was really wonderful and shocking and surprising, but really inventive. It has a really grittiness to it in parts. It feels less like a movie made today about the 80s and feels more like a movie that's made in the 80s. The terrible haircuts, the strange and unique, very colourful fashion choices, the music, everything about it just feels of that era. And I think she's really captured that really well. Really looks and feels of the period in the 80s. And I really love the soundtrack. I love the choices of songs that she uses for particular scenes. And some of the sound design is really, really great. I just felt completely immersed in this film from beginning to end, except for that one scene. In the end, it's a love story crime thriller with a twist. Rose Glass has once again proven how skillful she is as a filmmaker, delivering a really interesting film that, even though it's bigger budget and bigger cast and bigger storyline, it still feels contained, much like she did with Saint Maud, and it shows her skill as a director, and I look forward to what she does next. I don't care what it is, I'm there. She has her own style, which is refreshing, and I would put her in the realm of people like Ari Aster and Robert Eggers and Jordan Peele, all these directors doing something different and have a unique take and style that really work for them. And she really shines with the skills she has in this film. And I highly recommend it if you like something a bit different. Anyway, I'm going to give Love Lies Bleeding 4.5 out of 5. I thoroughly enjoyed my experience with it, and it is definitely one of the best films of the year. It is my #1 so far this year. Anyway, that's all from me today. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please hit subscribe. Down the bottom, follow me on Letterboxd and Facebook. Otherwise, until next time, enjoy the movies.